How to find cash buyers in minutes, the easy ways. Guys, it's Rick Ginn, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you the 5 techniques to find cash buyers the fast way. And I promise to keep this super simple. It doesn't matter if you've done 10 deals or you're just starting on your first deal, cash buyers are important. But before I get into it, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, you hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best information on wholesaling today. So the first thing you have to understand in wholesaling, the most fundamental rule, and I can't stress this enough, is you have to build a cash buyers list prior to going out and seeking motivated sellers. Here's the reality. If you go out and find a motivated seller right off the bat and you don't have a great, robust cash buyers list, you could actually risk losing your first deal. And that's the last thing I want to happen to you. Also, by reaching out to your cash buyers, you are in a market where cash buyers are harder to come by and they have stricter criteria. So as a new wholesaler, it's so important you learn intel from your cash buyers. You actually have to treat them as your customer. You know why? Because they are your customer. Cash buyers are your customers. Motivated sellers are the product. And if you forget that order of sequence, you will have problems in wholesaling. The more intel you can get from your cash buyers, what markets they want to buy from, the price range, the exact areas, and most importantly, that they are qualified. They actually have cash, meaning you vet them. You see, quality is more important than quantity in cash buyers. The reality is most wholesalers speak from their ego. It is not a race. It is not an ego fight who has the most cash buyers. The reality is you tell me you got 5,000 cash buyers, that means you got about 4,800 wholesalers trying to daisy chain your list. And that's the last thing you want to do. Just start out simple. Try to go out to get 3 or 5 quality vetted cash buyers and you are well on your way. And it doesn't take a ton of time, but if you only focus on motivated sellers and you ignore cash buyers and you have no experience in wholesaling, you're going to struggle with your first deal. I don't want that to happen to you. So let's dive in and find out the 5 easiest techniques to find cash buyers today. So the first technique is actually really simple, and I know it's common sense, but I got to tell you, go out and look for rent ads. Now, why am I asking you to look for rent ads? Because these are typically landlords that own properties for cash or have a mortgage. And these are the type that you already know that are qualified and they're typically looking to buy more properties, specifically in the area where the for rent ads are. Now, it doesn't matter if you do this virtually or locally. If you can find physical for rent signs and you're out driving for dollars, those are even better because you can see the types of houses, you know the areas, and it's actually really easy. Now, if you're going online and you're doing this virtually, then you can search. You can search Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram. I mean, guys, it's endless. Go and look for your for rent ads online and gather them and basically pick up the phone and call them and ask if they're looking for more properties in that area. Find the ones that have cash, find out what their criteria is. And guys, those of you doing this like locally, it's even easier because the criteria is already in front of you. You already know the price range, the location. For rent ads means they are current landlords. They love what they're doing and they're always looking for great deals because most of them are searching the MLS and trying to work with realtors and they're frustrated. This is where you, the wholesaler, solves the problem. Remember, your cash buyers are your customers. The for rent ads are actually some of the easiest ways to fill up your cash buyers list with quality cash buyers. Technique number 2 is simply searching social media. Now, remember, you're doing this as a business, so you can't look at it on a personal level through your social media links. What I want you to do is go on social media and find investor groups. Why? Because quality cash buyers, landlords, people seeking to buy discounted properties that need rehab or need a landlord are going to go to investor groups. Why? Because that is the path of least resistance. So the first thing you do is the easiest, I think, is going to the Facebook groups. You can even go to Facebook Marketplace. It doesn't matter where you go. What you are looking for are phone numbers, emails, and names. And what you want to do is scrape this data, meaning just cut and paste it, put it in an Excel spreadsheet, and start this as your leads to find your cash buyers. Honestly, the more information they give in these groups, the better off you're doing. And just hunt. If you have to build an email list, you guys can use AI to write a very crafted content message to attract these cash buyers. Don't overthink it. I love using AI with ChatGPT. You know how to do that. If you want to learn how to do that, go over to freewholesaling.com. But guys, move forward and do this. It works. So you don't have to stop with Facebook. You can go to Instagram Once again, you can hunt Craigslist, whatever. You can go online and search for cash buyers. Look for the places a cash buyer would hunt. You have to think like a cash buyer. Remember, these are your customers. And remember, when you gather their information and you market them, spend time and vet them and get intel from them. The better the intel you got, the better you can search for your motivated seller, the better list you can put together, and honestly, the better wholesaling business you can have. Now, the third way is a little bit out there, but I want you to understand, I know I always talk about this conflict between realtors and wholesalers, the Hatfield McCoys, but the reality is this is where you can actually have an easy connection with the realtor. So what I'm looking for is the realtor on the buy side. So I'm looking for a buyer's agent specifically that caters to cash buyers. So what this person does is they go out and find great deals, usually properties that need rehab, landlord properties, stuff like that, that need a quick buyer. And if they do the search, they find someone like you, find someone like me, a wholesaler, and they can get paid their commission. These cash buyer agents will go absolutely nuts for you. And stop worrying about paying them a commission. Honestly, cash buyer agents, you pay them between 3 and 6% on average. And the reality is they're going to get you 10 to 15% more than you would get from a regular cash buyer. So don't fret that you have to pay an agent. It's actually a savings. So I want you to understand it. And the really cool part about cash buyer agents, number one, is they actually will go out and view the properties, and more than half of them will look at it for their clients. They know exactly what their clients need. They know their relationships with the client. And here's the really cool part. You cut out all the drama. You see, they just want to get paid a commission and they're not going to waste their time. So if they go out, look at a property and make a decision in like less than a half a day or sometimes within 24 hours, they just saved you a lot of drama. You don't have to vet the cash buyer. Remember, these people are locked and loaded and ready to go. Why? Because they already have a cash buyer's agent. And honestly, they're going to share all the other properties they bought from you. It is a one and done, and I love it. Now, how do you get a hold of these people? The easiest way is to try to get someone who has MLS access that can pull up the criteria within their system and pull up all the properties that sold for cash that was represented with an agent. And once you do, you reach out to the agent and let them know you're going to be loyal to them. You're not going to cut them out, and you're going to pay them their full commission. If you do that and you actually have product, you will create a huge win-win situation. I love using this technique. A lot of people frown on it, but honestly, this is where you can start forging a relationship with a great real estate agent, as opposed to asking them to find you distressed properties. Have them find you high quality cash buyers, and it will help your wholesaling business get off the ground and start with a positive spin. So the next one, number 4, is a paid way, but it's pretty cheap to do. Just for a modest fee per month, you can use listrei.com. And then basically this service will pull up all the cash buyers, similar to what you do with MLS. The only difference is you're not working through MLS. You're actually going to the buyer direct. It is a distinct difference. Remember, when you work with agents, you have to work through the agent. And honestly, it's well worth it. But if you do this technique, you can narrow it into the areas where you want to find your motivated sellers. You can find out the areas where the cash buyers are. And honestly, this will give you valuable intel on where are the cash buyers, what price range they're buying at, and you can narrow it down to 3 months, 6 months, 9 months to 12 months, and you can even set pricing criteria. Honestly, it saves you a ton of time. It cuts to the chase, and honestly, the information is very precise. It is a convenience play, and honestly, it's much cheaper than going out and hiring an employee. Guys, don't overlook listrei.com. It is convenient, it's cheap, and honestly, it saves you a ton of time. So if you want to use a paid service and you got a little bit of extra dough, it is well worth it. Honestly, it's hard to operate as a wholesaler without listrei.com. Check that out. I think you'll really, really like it. Now I'm going to give you one bonus one. I know I said 4, but let me throw you out number 5. And this is often overlooked, but it's basically doing a JV, which is simply a joint venture. And then this is basically where you work with other wholesalers. How do you find other wholesalers? A lot of the same techniques, scraping online, even calling for rent ads. You can find other wholesalers. And the reality is, if you're really good at finding motivated sellers and they have a robust cash buyers list, you can work together. I spent my first year exclusively using this technique. I really enjoyed it. Why? Because I spent all my energy and time on finding motivated sellers. I sucked at dispositions. I honestly didn't know how to do it. And over time, I learned it. How did I learn it? I did joint ventures, and I had them teach me as a condition of doing a joint venture with them. And I eventually learned dispo because it got expensive. Now, the best joint venture you can do is you got to put it in writing, and you want to share this information with the title company. Anybody who doesn't want to do that with you, don't do a joint venture with them. Their character has to speak loudly, and if it speaks up front, make sure you listen. And ideally, a perfect relationship would be a 50-50 joint venture. Honestly, don't enter into joint ventures that are like 90-10. That's a finder's fee. That's not a joint venture. I like to have 50-50 because both people should bring their skills to the deal to get it done. If it's completely lopsided, why do a joint venture? But sometimes 60-40 because someone's bringing funding, or 65-35. That's about as far as I go with it. Guys, don't overlook joint ventures. Now, of the 5 techniques I shared with the cash buyers, let me know in the comments which one you're utilizing and which one you need help with it. Guys, wholesaling is simple. We just make it so hard as people. It's just like working out. You know exactly what you got to do, but you got to be consistent. You got to have the discipline to do it. Guys, do not skip getting the cash buyers, because I don't want you to get stuck with your first deal and have to scramble like crazy to find a cash buyer. You should do them simultaneously while you're doing your marketing. Don't overlook getting your cash buyers. Let me know which technique you're going to use. And as usual, if you got value from this video, do me a favor, make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is Rick Ginn, and I'll see you in the next video.